I feel like we're not doing enough as people, as humans together. We're used to being disconnected because that was all part of the whole plan, was to get people to distrust each other, to put up walls between us, to get us to stake our like identities and our sense of trust on opinions, on like superficial shit, and even just misinformation. Things that aren't true coming into one person and conflicting with the narrative that another person hears, and both of them believing it so completely that they part instead of figuring out what actually is true. But what we need to do to counter it is to start connecting with each other, engaging with each other. And trust, obviously, is still the issue. You can't trust a person. A person is a complicated machine, and a person is going to make mistakes. You can't really trust, you almost can't trust anything. Which is why we kind of have to weigh things up in terms of what is most likely to be true and what am I willing to bet my life on, because your life is already on the line. So by not looking into it further, you've already made a choice, and it's probably not the best one. So if you value your own life, think about it a little bit harder. And if you value other people's lives, definitely think about it a little bit harder. Specifically, we need to be in the habit of sharing ideas and processes and even like emotional coping strategies that work for us, so that we can be stronger together and have more of a network of people, and not even specific individuals, just any reasonable person who is willing to or go through the process with somebody to help them process their feelings or spiraling reactions and that kind of things that would take us in the wrong direction. And I think our overall goal is to get to the truth. And so that should always be kind of our compass. When you see people posting about like such and such, why does anyone even like Jimmy Carter? Why aren't you talking about all these bad things that he did? Well, we have to break that discussion down. We have to say, what bad things did he actually do? Because it's complicated. And I think most of us are willing to say he was not a perfect person. Like, if you're getting that impression, that's not what we mean. And that's another issue, is that people are used to making assumptions and treating those assumptions like facts. And those assumptions do things like reduce a very complicated situation down to just one idea or emotion. And it's such a satisfying idea or emotion that you don't want to let it go, even when something new comes up and says, oh, well, maybe that's not actually the way that you thought. Coming in with just a pile of incidents and saying these are bad. Look into it more. Do a bit more research and figure out what probably actually happened. And, it's hard. It's hard to get that level of information on events that happened so long ago in mostly private spaces. But we do have some witnesses who have come forward and said things about the presidents and other contacts who were there. And, who is lying, who is telling the truth, it's hard to say. But a lot of things line up. And that, to me, paints a picture of the most likely scenario. And everyone gets to have their own kind of headcanon of reality, of the truth. But the majority of it is stuff that can be verified. It's so strange to me, because it's really just the fact that we're even talking, communicating at all, proves to me that there is an agent that I can interact with, whether it's a human being or a bot. Sometimes you can't tell. But it almost doesn't matter as much as the content that you're discussing. You can have a decent conversation with a bot if it's accessing information that is true and presenting it in a way that is, not misleading, and that kind of thing. But it's the same with people. You talk to a person, they're going to give you some half-ass crazy idea presented in a human way, and you still have to interpret that. Like, it's not that different. The onus is still on you, the listener, to verify the information that is coming into your senses. Everything you see and hear, you should run it by a filter. Say, hey, is this line up with all the reality that I actually believe in? How likely is this new thing that I'm hearing? I'm going to put it with the other things of that likeliness. And you end up building more of a more flexible model of knowledge in your brain, where things are not set in stone. Some things have been reinforced more than other things, but anything is subject to change. That's kind of the power of learning new information. And it can be scary and it can be difficult. And I think that's one of the reasons people don't like to get, don't like to learn new things or don't like to change. But it is necessary. If you never change, you never improve. And you are changing every day, whether you like it or not. So you may as well try to change in the right direction. I'm still trying to figure out how to phrase all this in a way that will actually connect with people, because I'm worried that we're still not connected. And I'm worried that we won't be able to connect quickly enough to react to whatever is going to happen next year. So I don't know. I'm going to keep trying to reach out to people on Blue Sky, see if I can, just throw enough ideas out there that some of them take root somewhere and help somebody. These people are really dying every day. And I wish that I could do more to help them, but I'm not sure what I can do from here. We have the power. We have enough people who care to do something, but we have to coordinate a little bit better, and we have to stop wasting time on the superficial disagreements. We have to throw our egos and our vanity aside and be willing to look silly, be willing to make mistakes, as long as we're also willing to acknowledge those mistakes and try to correct them. Because we have to move. We have to start taking action, doing things, talking to each other. That's the other thing, is like, it's not a big, I'm not asking for like, dedicate your life to this cause. Like, no, not necessarily. Just anything, just a step in the right direction. Say something positive to somebody on a post that you see that isn't getting that kind of response, or just that kind of thing. Like, try to help people be people, for one, correct their misconceptions, try to help stabilize any kind of spirals that they might be experiencing. And it's difficult right now because a lot of people are up and a lot of people are down, and this way and that way. And what we're kind of trying to do is stabilize the wave. But every day there's someone, information coming in that spikes us up or down, and we have to kind of account for that too. And so there's going to be a lot of kind of push and pull and a lot of give and take, and it's going to it's going to feel like you're reshaping or rebuilding the same thing over and over again in a different way. And yeah, that's part of the process. That is the iterative process of learning, of growing. And we see that, all throughout nature. That is evolution, is try a thing, see if it works. If it doesn't, it dies. Try a different thing. Eventually, you'll either find one that works enough to use, or you'll die. And I don't know how bad things are going to get next year. I don't know how realistic a threat of death is, and of course it depends on the individual too. I personally think I'll be fine, but I don't know. And regardless, I would like to try to do the best that I can while I am alive. I know that there are human beings out there whose lives can be affected by my actions. And because of that, I want to try to take the best actions. The actions that I take are driven by my beliefs. So I want to try to have beliefs that are true. I hope that clears it up. I feel like this isn't the video that I want, but this is kind of in the right direction. So I'm going to keep trying to iterate on this. Thank you for watching. I do hope you have a happy new year, if you can. Goodbye.